This is your USMNT Abroad weekend and a little bit of the midweek update from August 12th to August 14th of 2022. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to another episode of the US Men's National Team Abroad, a channel favorite, where every Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend, and sometimes with some midweek updates as well. In the last episode, we asked for 1,000 likes, and y'all gave us 1,900. You're going to make me spoiled. So thank you very much for that. Now, I also do have one request for all US soccer fans right now. We don't really need to talk about Aaron Long anymore and Greg Berhalter's decision to bring him or not to the World Cup. He is not the center back we should be focusing on now. We should focus on hyping up Harry Maguire and making sure Harry Maguire starts for England in the World Cup. If we want to beat England, we need Harry Maguire to start. He is probably the most important player that the US men's national team needs to be present in this World Cup, even though he's not in our roster. So hopefully you smash the like button once again so we can try to break 1,000 likes again for this episode. There's a lot to talk about. Transfers, performance updates. We're going to start with transfers and then we'll go to the performance updates. So let's play the intro and let's start the episode. Okay, so for the transfers, let's start with the transfers that actually happened. Then we'll talk quickly about the transfer rumors and negotiations going on. The first one will be Matthew Haji, and he has headed to Middlesbrough in the English Second Division, the English Championship. So Matthew Haji moves from Mallorca, a transfer that was a disaster at the time when it happened, to Middlesbrough, where he will be joining Zach Steffen. The transfer fee for this move is around $3 to $4 million. Is this a good move or a bad move? Well, the situation can't be worse. It cannot be worse than the one in Mallorca. So I'm going to say this is a good move, and I am cautiously optimistic about it. But let's see how it plays out throughout the season. I expect him to get minutes. Now it's up to Haji to perform. Now the other transfer that happened, and we need to talk about, is Conrad de la Fuente to Olympiacos in Greece. So the reports are that Conrad de la Fuente has headed to Greece on a loan with an option to buy. He originally belongs to Olympique Marseille, and the only part I don't like about this transfer is the option to buy, as you know, Greece is a major downgrade from France. It is a league that overall is weaker than MLS nowadays. But I mean, he needs minutes, and what he needs to do is ball out in this league. There really is no excuses for him to struggle in Greece. Yeah, he moved from Barcelona to Olympique Marseille, now to Olympiacos. So he kept going down every single time. This was a very big downgrade. He needs to ball out there and get back to a top 5 league. There's really no excuses for him to underperform in the Greek league. Now, the other transfer that happened was Cole Bassett, and he stayed in Holland or Netherlands in the Eredivisie, but he switched clubs. So essentially what happened here was he had a loan recall from the Colorado Rapids, or Feyenoord canceled their loan, and he's going to head to Fortuna Sittard, also in the Eredivisie, on a loan. So he still belongs to the Rapids. He's on a loan with Fortuna Sittard. However, Feyenoord still has the option to buy when this loan ends at the end of the season, so in 12 months roughly. Yeah, so it's almost as if Feyenoord loaned him to another team, but they don't own him, but they have the option to buy. It's confusing, but you get what I'm saying. He has a new club. Now, the transfer rumor is Timothy Weah to Valencia. So Weah was not with Lille due to an injury, but at the same time, reports from Ekren Konur, a reliable source, said that Tim Weah could be heading to Valencia on a loan. What are my thoughts on this move? Well, it did not happen yet, so if it does, I'll dive into it. For the time being, let's just wait. But I would love to see Weah and Yunus Musa play in Valencia under Gattuso. Now off to the performance updates. Now, Christian Pulisic from Chelsea. On Sunday, Pulisic started off on the bench and came in at the 84th minute for Chelsea during their 2-2 draw with Tottenham. A game that had a very boring first half, but had an amazing second half, a late equalizer by Tottenham scored by Harry Kane. We also had Conte freak out with a handshake with Thomas Tuchel and a lot of fighting between the coaches. It was absolutely delightful. In regards to Pulisic's performance, not much can be taken from it for this game. He barely touched the ball playing as a right winger, but Kai Havertz was fairly poor, so I would expect Pulisic to maybe get a start next weekend versus Leeds. Who am I kidding? He's going to come off the bench as always. Which, by the way, we are releasing a video this Wednesday with a special guest about Pulisic this season, doing a breakdown of his time with Chelsea. and whether or not he might leave based on the reports and many things that are going on, and whether or not he should. Well, obviously he should leave, but we'll talk about that in the video. Next up is Weston Mckennie from Juventus. Allegri, the manager of Juventus, has confirmed that Weston Mckennie is available for Juve's game this Monday, which means Weston is fully healthy, which is great news. And once again, Weston Mckennie recovers from an injury in record time. He was expected to only return in September. Yeah, so the game is this Monday. We record it on Sunday. So if you have any updates on Weston, whether or not he came off the bench, if he played for Juventus, how he did, drop a comment down below. So Giovanni Reina on Friday was not with Borussia Dortmund. It was obviously precaution. There was no setbacks or anything. They're going to take it slow with him this season, as we talked about in the video we made about Reina last Wednesday. So yeah, perfectly normal. I expect him to maybe be on the bench on their next match over the weekend, but they're going to be very slow with his minutes. And hopefully they are, because we need Gio Reyna fully healthy for the World Cup. Now next up is Serginho Dest from Barcelona. For now. On Saturday, Serginho Dest did not even make the bench for Barcelona, and it was not due to injury. It was simply a choice by Xavi. But before the game even happened, there was a report from the same source that mentioned the Weah transfer to Valencia that could happen, hasn't happened yet, saying that Dest is negotiating with Manchester United. Now, we don't know what to believe here. There have been reports of Xavi not wanting him, Xavi wanting him. It changes every week. But, you know, what we see in regards to player selection, it looks like he doesn't want Serginho Dest. So yeah, he could leave. And they're interested in other fullbacks, Barcelona, and they've been printing money and just buying a bunch of players. But their fullbacks looked awful. Araujo didn't look good at the right back. The left back with Jordi Alba didn't look good. Sergio Roberto's not the solution. So they could use Dest, but it looks like Xavi kind of gave up on him. So he might leave. That might actually happen. We'll keep you posted on a weekly basis. Now, Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams, and Jesse Marsch from Leeds. On Saturday, Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson started and played the full 90 minutes for Leeds during their 2-2 draw with Southampton in the English Premier League. Now, Tyler Adams had a very good game, showing great positional awareness, reading of the game, and also well-timed tackles. But most importantly, Tyler looked very good on the ball, very comfortable. It was great to see. Now, Brendan Aronson had an okay game, not bad, not great, lots of hustle, was able to draw some fouls. He played mostly out wide in the first half and then central as a 10 in the second half, but there were times where he looked like a shadow striker for Leeds, essentially when a 10 looks like a second striker. The only bad for this match was honestly Jesse Marsch, because the team gassed out and it was quite clear, and Jesse took way too long to make subs. They had a 2-0 lead and they blew it, and personally, I think it was on Jesse Marsch. You see, despite Southampton completely suffocating Leeds, Jesse took too long to make changes. And just telling you, fresh legs alone would have done the trick. But Jesse Marsch waited for Southampton to tie the match 2-2, and then he started making changes on the 84th minute. Hopefully he learns from it, but overall it's a good start of the English Premier League for Leeds with 4 points in 2 matches. For this match, Tyler Adams had 68 touches, a 71% passing accuracy, won 6 out of 11 ground duels, along with getting 1 blocked shot, 1 interception, and 1 clearance. Now, Brendan Aronson had 74 touches, a 68% passing accuracy, 2 key passes, won 9 out of 22 ground duels, and was fouled 3 times. Okay, now we're gonna go by positions, and we'll start with the goalkeepers. Okay, and the first one will be Zach Steffen from Middlesbrough, and obviously because of the transfer, Matthew Hoppe, also from Middlesbrough, even though he's not a goalkeeper. But I mean, let's do the teams together. On Sunday, Zach Steffen started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough in their 2-2 draw with Sheffield. Steffen did not have any major mistakes in this game, even though one of the goals he could have done a better job. He did also have a very nice save throughout the match. Overall, he did much better than previous games. Now, Matthew Hoppe did somewhat debut, as he did come in at the 97th minute and played roughly 20 to 30 seconds. So I guess that counts as a debut. Next up is Ethan Horvath from Luton Town, also in the English Championship. On Saturday, Horvath started and played the full 90 minutes for Luton Town during their 1-0 loss to Preston in the English Championship. Last but not least is Matt Turner from Arsenal. He stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes during Arsenal's win versus Leicester, where Gabriel Jesus scored 2 goals. Okay, and I've been saying this for a while. I think Gabriel Jesus is going to have more goals than Erling Haaland this season in the Premier League. No Brazilian bias right there. I mean, you can comment down below if you agree with me or not. It's just a bet I've made with Pete, and I'm going to go on with it. It's 2-2 right now. Gabriel has 2, Haaland has 2. I'm betting on Gabriel Jesus. Let me know who you're betting on in the comment section down below. And again, it's Premier League goals for Gabriel and Haaland. So now we're going to go to the center backs, and we'll start John Brooks. He still has no club. He's still a free agent. Apparently, the Saudi Arabia rumors were fake. We don't know where he's going. The next player is Chris Richards, and he plays this Monday, so there's no update on him for this weekend. You can drop a comment down below if you watched the game and how he played. If he played for Crystal Palace, he didn't get minutes in the first match. But now let's talk about who played. Next player is Eric Palmer-Brown from Troyes in Ligue 1. On Sunday, Palmer-Brown started and played the full 90 minutes for Troyes during their 3-0 loss to Toulouse in Ligue 1. It's a bad result, but they did play a back three, and the other two center backs were subbed off while he was the only center back for them that started and finished the match. So I guess that's a win. Next up is Mark McKenzie from Genk. On Sunday, McKenzie started and played the full 90 minutes for Genk during their 4-1 win over Zoete in Belgium. Next up on the list is Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic in Scotland. On Sunday, CCV started and played the full 90 minutes for Celtic during their 5-0 win against Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premiership. Now Owen Otasowie from Club Brugge. On Sunday, Otasowie stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Club Brugge during their 3-0 win over Leuven in the Belgium League. Now, Otasowie did start their first game and was subbed off with a minor injury and a bad performance. Maybe he's benched, or maybe they were just taking it easy on him due to the injury. We'll know more within the next 2 or 3 weeks based on his minutes. The last center back I want to talk about in this video is Austin Trusty from Birmingham City in the English Championship. On Saturday, Trusty started and played the full 90 minutes once again for Birmingham City during their 1-0 loss to Cardiff. Trusty got a yellow card for this match. We're done with the center backs. Now we're going to go to the fullbacks, and we'll start with Jedi Robinson and Tim Ream from Fulham. On Saturday, A-Rob and Ream both started and both played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 0-0 draw with the Wolves in the English Premier League. For this match, A-Rob had 3 clearances, 4 interceptions, 60 touches, won 4 out of 6 ground duels, and had 1 key pass. Now, Tim Ream had 4 clearances, 1 blocked shot, 3 interceptions, and 3 tackles. If you play NBA Fantasy, we would probably say that Tim Ream stuffed the stat sheet with defensive stats, of course. Now, the other fullback, which has actually been playing as a center back, is Reggie Cannon from Boa Vista in Portugal. On Sunday, Cannon started and played the full 90 minutes for Boa Vista during their 2-1 win over Santa Clara in Liga NOS. As always, he played as a right center back in a back three. Next up is Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach, or Borussia not Dortmund, or whatever the heck you want to call them. On Saturday, Scally started and played the full 90 minutes for Gladbach during their 2-2 draw with Schalke in the Bundesliga. So Liner was healthy and on the bench. Even though that was the case, Scally still started and played as a right back, and that happened for the 2nd game in a row. So it looks like Joe Scally might have actually become the locked-in right-back starter for Gladbach. So Kevin Paredes and Justin Che, they haven't been playing. They're with the B teams of Wolfsburg with Kevin Paredes and Hoffenheim for Justin Che. They're not playing with the senior team. So it makes you wonder if the move from MLS to a B team in Europe was worth it, right? Okay, each one can judge that for themselves. Next up is George Bello from Arminia Bielefeld in Bundesliga 2. On Saturday, Bello started off on the bench and came in at the 61st minute for Arminia Bielefeld during their 2-0 loss to Hamburg. Last but not least, Jonathan Gomez from Real Sociedad. He is not with their A squad, so he didn't play over the weekend in La Liga, and their B team starts playing next weekend, so no update on Jonathan Gomez. Now we're off to the midfield, and we'll start with Yunus Musa from Valencia. But before we start the midfielders, please hit the like button if you made it this far in the video. Hopefully we hit 1,000 again, but let's go to Yunus Musa. On Sunday, Yunus Musa started and played the full 90 minutes for Valencia during their 1-0 win over Girona in La Liga. So Musa had an okay game. It was far from perfect and far from good, but it was also not terrible. He played mostly as an 8, which looked like a double pivot midfield, with Guillamon next to him and Soler as a 10. So a 4-2-3-1 formation, but yes, at times it did also look like a 4-3-3. Now, in the build-up, he was not dropping deep. He was staying higher up the field. Valencia did also play man down for almost the entire second half, so they were required to do a bit more defending than they normally would against Girona. Regardless, this is a great start for Valencia and Yunus Musa. Also, I must say, he probably will play central or as a central midfielder or a central defensive midfielder for the entire season. So let's hope he continues to be a starter for Gattuso, as he will be playing him central. Now for this match, Yunus Musa had 35 touches and 82% passing accuracy, 1 shot off target, but it was pretty close. 1 big chance missed, won 4 out of 8 ground duels, lost possession 6 times, and committed 4 fouls, along with being fouled once. Next up is Luca de la Torre from Celta de Vigo and Luca Coleocho from Espanyol, as they both faced each other over the weekend. So on Saturday, we got a Luca in the field for Celta versus Espanyol, but it was not Luca de la Torre, as he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Celta de Vigo. It was Luca Coleocho, actually. The 18-year-old Canadian-American came in for Espanyol at the right wing around minute 80 or so. He did make his La Liga debut last season, but it's still very impressive that they managed to give him minutes already early in the season, and it looks like he is a senior squad player. He also came to the game at a crucial moment where Espanyol was actually down 2-1, which shows that the coach does trust him, and the game ended 2-2. He was only in for 10 minutes, but he didn't look very good or very comfortable for this match, okay, on the ball and tactically. But again, he will probably improve and get more comfortable as he gets more minutes. The kid is just about to turn 18 in a couple days. Yeah, and we had an interview here with him on the channel. Great kid, wishing the best to Luca Coleocho. It's amazing that he already got minutes in La Liga at age 17 to 18. Next up are the Rangers boys, James Sands and Tim Tillman. And boy, Tim Tillman got some hops this week. So here's a brief mention of the midweek game. They both started for Rangers in their Champions League qualification playoff match that Rangers needed a 3-0 win to advance. And they got a 3-0 win with Tim Tillman scoring the third goal off a header, and boy, does he have hops. He can jump. Rangers will now face PSV to see who makes it to the Champions League group stage. Now, back to the weekend, since it's a weekend update. On Saturday, Sands was not with the team due to an illness, but Malik Tillman started and played 67 minutes for Rangers during their 4-0 win over St Johnstone in the Scottish Premiership. Tillman scored again for Rangers, this time their first goal of the match, and yes, you guessed it, it was a header. A very difficult one, but you know, Tillman can fly. Yeah, imagine Air Tillman and Air Weston on set pieces for the US men's national team in the future. I can't wait. Next up are the Venezia boys, Tanner Tessman, Gianluca Busio, and Novakovic. On Sunday, Busio, Tessman, and Novakovic all started for Venezia during their 2-1 loss to Genoa in the Serie B, the Italian second division. Now, Novakovic played the full 90 minutes while Tanner Tessman and Gianluca Busio were subbed off at the 69th minute. Nice. Patrick Leal, also an American, stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Venezia. Now let's go a little bit to South America and talk about Johnny Cardoso from Internacional. On Sunday, Johnny Cardoso started and was subbed off at the 84th minute for Internacional during their 3-0 win over Fluminense in the Brazilian league, the Brasileirão. Now, Johnny actually played a very good game and got a very nice assist from their first goal with a very good through ball, you know, with the outside of his foot. But not just that, a very good overall performance throughout the entire match. Let's hope he gains more confidence with coach Manu Menezes and he gets more minutes as a starter. Also, Internacional really needed this win, and it was very happy for Johnny to get the minutes and the win of his club that were struggling a lot, playing the veterans. They play the kids, they got the win. Now, Alan Sonora, still in South America, that plays in Argentina for Independiente. On Saturday, Alan Sonora started and played the full 90 minutes for Independiente during their 1-1 draw with Lanús in the Argentine League. Alan Sonora is among one of the best passers in the Argentine League. Next up is Taylor Booth from Utrecht in the Netherlands. On Saturday, Taylor Booth started and was subbed off at halftime for Utrecht during their 0-0 draw with Cambuur. It's the second game in a row that Booth gets subbed off at halftime. I did not watch both of those games, so I can't really give you a reliable opinion, but just based on common sense, being subbed off at halftime 2 games in a row, it can't be a good thing. But then, starting 2 games in a row is a good thing. So it really depends on what perspective you want to look into the situation. Personally, I don't think it's a good thing that you started 2 games and you were subbed off at halftime. Now let's talk about another player in Netherlands, Richie Ledesma from PSV. On Saturday, Ledesma started, and unfortunately, he only played 38 minutes for PSV. I say unfortunately because he left the game with an ankle injury after a brutal tackle from the opponent that ended up with a red card. Ledesma did manage to stay a couple more minutes in the field and try to play. He also managed to leave the game walking, so let's hope it's nothing too serious. At the time of this recording, there's no official update of how long he'll be out for, but it didn't really look very good. Now let's go to Portugal and talk about Alejandro Alvarado and Alex Mendes from Vizela. And Alejandro Alvarado stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Vizela during their 1-0 loss to Porto, while Alex Mendes was not with the team, more because the club was being cautious about a muscular discomfort he had during the midweek. Alex Mendes is a starter for Vizela, and hopefully he'll be back on their next match over the weekend. Still on the midfielders, now we're going to go to Julian Green and Tim Tillman from Fürth in the Bundesliga 2, the second division of Germany. On Sunday, Green and Tillman both started for Firth during their 2-2 draw with Dusseldorf in Bundesliga 2. Now, Julian Green got an assist for this match while playing 65 minutes, while Tim Tillman, the brother of Malik Tillman, played 84 minutes. The last midfielder of this video is Dwayne Holmes from Huddersfield. On Saturday, Dwayne Holmes started off on the bench and came in at the 64th minute for Huddersfield during their 3-1 win over Stoke City. Now, when Dwayne Holmes came into this match, it was still 1-1, and he got both assists to help them get the 3-1 victory. Now let's go to the forwards, and we'll start with Ricardo Pepi from Augsburg. On Saturday, Pepi started off on the bench and pretty much stayed there the full 90 minutes, as he only came in the 94th minute for Augsburg during their 2-1 win over Bayer Leverkusen. Him not playing wasn't really the shocking part of this story. This has been happening way too often. It's just, how the heck did Augsburg defeat Bayer Leverkusen? Also, many of our center forwards are getting minutes and scoring goals at the club level. We'll talk about a few at the end of this video. So Pepi's odds of going to the World Cup are getting slimmer and slimmer each week. We're still in Germany, and we're going to talk now about Pefok from Union Berlin. On Sunday, Pefok started and played 71 minutes for Union Berlin during their 0-0 draw with Mainz in the Bundesliga. Now, Pefok played as one of the two strikers up top in a 5-3-2 formation. For this match, he had one shot blocked, 31 touches, a low 36% passing accuracy, one key pass, won 2 out of 8 ground duels, and won 12 of 17 aerial duels, which is very impressive and very good but expected from him. Now, the next player here is Josh Sargent from Norwich. On Saturday, Sargent started off on the bench and came in at the 58th minute for Norwich during their 2-1 loss to Hull City in the English Championship, aka the 2nd Division of England. Now, for Hull City, Von Coville came in at the 77th minute. He's a 19-year-old English-American forward. And still in the English Championship, we have Daryl Dike from West Brom, and it was announced last week, not quite on the weekend, that he had another muscle injury, and Daryl Dike will be out for at least 2 months. So we're halfway through August, September, mid-October. His hopes of going to Qatar were low, probably close to 0. Now they are officially 0, and it's been bad how injury-prone Daryl Dike has been since last year in the Gold Cup. Now, Haji Wright from Antalyaspor in Turkey. On Sunday, Haji Wright started and played 76 minutes for Antalyaspor during their 1-0 win over Umreye in Turkey. Man, I butchered that name for sure. Haji Wright scored the only goal of this match with a beautiful header. No, really. It was a great, powerful, and well-placed header. You should go check it out yourself. Yeah, I can't put highlights here because YouTube will take me down. Now let's go to France and talk about Fullerton Balogun from Reims in Ligue 1. He belongs to Arsenal, he's on a loan, and he's an English-American dual national. On Sunday, Balogun started and played 63 minutes for Reims during their 4-2 loss to Clermont Foot in Ligue 1. Now, Balogun was able to draw a PK and convert a PK for them. Besides that, the game was not very good from him and his team. I was half watching it because I was also watching Pefok for Union Berlin. And, you know, they got a red card early in the second half, so they were doing mostly defending, and then Clermont Foot was able to come back and get a 4-2 win. So before you bring in Balogun to the national team, one, he needs to accept the call, right? He would have to file a one-time switch from England, but also we need to see more from him. Regardless, in 2 games in France, he already has 2 goals, so that is very promising, and we'll see how it goes. He won't be for the 2022 cycle. It's too late to bring him in. He's more for the 2026 cycle if he decides to play for us. Last but not least, Tyler Boyd from Besiktas in Turkey. On Sunday, Boyd started off on the bench and came in at halftime for Besiktas during their 3-3 draw with Alanyaspor. The last player, actually, there is one more player I want to talk about. Alex Mighten stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Nottingham Forest in the English Premier League. Okay, he didn't play, and there are a lot of rumors that Alex Mighten might leave on a loan. Alright everyone, that does it for this US Men's National Team Abroad episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Hopefully it wasn't too good. Hopefully it was like right in between. We do have a lot of episodes coming out this week. On Wednesday, we'll have the Pulisic video about his situation in Chelsea and what to expect and what might happen. We have a Diego Luna interview coming out on Saturday as well, along with some live streams here and there. We'll see what we can do. Hit the like button if you made it this far in this video. Truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.